Welcome to the Ask Faleskini podcast with a guest. I'm proud to present Lily Patrascu from London, UK. Lily is the founder of Brand for Speakers and co-founders of Speakers Are Leaders. Her programs inspire entrepreneurs to attract more business through personal branding, visibility, and marketing by overcoming their fear of speaking and becoming confident speakers. Lily helps entrepreneurs become a published author in 60 days, increase visibility and credibility, enhance personal brand, monetize their knowledge and influence, get booked to speak worldwide, become a more confident speaker, and create multiple streams of income out of their knowledge. Lily, please tell us more about yourself. What is your story?
So I'm Lily Patrascu, and I'm a book publisher, and I create books that transform the world, that will help you elevate your personal brand and help you to attract more business. And I'm so excited to be here on your podcast.
Thank you. Can you tell us about the last book that you published? You're also a book author. Can you tell us more about the last book? What is the book that you think that our listeners should read?
So one of my last books that I published is Peak Performance Sales. And I also got published under celebrities book publishing company called Marie Diamond Publishing. And we are doing a collaborative book program together called Global Conscious Entrepreneurs. And that one was the very last book that was published, not under my brand, but the celebrities brand called Marie Diamond Publishing. And that's a really amazing book that anyone should read because it contains the stories of 49 entrepreneurs that are changing the world with their business. And you can learn a lot of tips about how you too can attract more success, more abundance, and a lot more of what you truly desire through some of the techniques in this book, such as using feng shui for harmonizing your environment, and personal branding tips, and luxury property investment tips, and finance. So it's a compilation of really amazing expertise put together.
Okay, when I was describing you, I didn't mention that you are also running your own university. Can you tell us more about your project?
Thank you so much. So I have a lot of courses about writing and publishing a book, sales and personal branding. That's mainly it. And also becoming a speaker. And if you want to write and publish a book, or if you want to attract more business, then I think personal branding is very important because how you show up everywhere is important. I'll give you an example. If you currently look at your WhatsApp picture, is it a good picture? Is it a picture that you would want to frame and, put in a newspaper? Is it, because a lot of people, I think they don't consider how they look in social media. And WhatsApp is one of those places, right? You should look good. You should upload a professional picture of you. Now, in LinkedIn, for example, you have a great picture, but does everyone have a great picture? I don't think so. And also, for example, in LinkedIn, for example, you need to have a profile based around what you really want to attract. And because I think that it used to be that LinkedIn was mainly a platform where you can say companies were looking for employees, and potential employees were looking for companies. And because of that, it has this format that's almost like a CV, but it's not that anymore. Now it's a platform for kind of any entrepreneur as well to look for business. And if you are an entrepreneur, I think that, for example, your profile needs to be written in a way that a client could look at that and say, it's almost like a sales page, almost like a mini sales page for you and for your services. So it should contain things like what makes you different about yourself, a small paragraph about yourself, a mini introduction. Also, like maybe a link for more case studies of people you have worked with and what results you have obtained for them. And also a way for people to contact you, because I think that there's a limitation in terms of LinkedIn messaging. Now, I can understand if a lot of people contact you and you really don't want to be messaged, but I think that even if you do get overwhelmed by the number of people that contact you, I think you can monetize that. Because if you put your contact contact number there, or your contact email, what happens is that it's easier to actually do business because, for example, with LinkedIn, it's very hard to kind of email everyone, one by one. And sure, there are some platforms that can allow you to contact a lot of people in one go, but really LinkedIn doesn't allow automations, although there are some platforms that allow automations for LinkedIn to message a lot of people in one go, but really LinkedIn doesn't want that. So, anyway, these are just some tips for how you can really look at your personal brand everywhere. So how do you appear on LinkedIn? How do you appear in WhatsApp? How do you appear in Facebook? How do you appear in Instagram? How do you appear in TikTok? The important thing is that you should look great everywhere.
So people are basically gathering information about who they do business with all the time. So that is why it's so important to be present, and also to be present in a professional manner. You mentioned professional photo that needs to be part of the profile, and similar. What would you say for you're working a lot with speakers? What is the most important if you have a speech, let's say, or an entrepreneur that has a speech on a sales meeting, or what is important with their branding? How should they brand themselves?
Very good question. So I think that it's important to have, for example, a really nice virtual background. And if you don't have a really nice virtual background, you can have a real background that is really nice for Zoom or for any kind of platform that you're going to use, whether it's StreamYard or Zoom or whatever, or Teams, whatever platform you're going to use in order to speak to people. I do think it's important that you look at the background that you have behind you and make it a nice looking one, because you want your overall image. You don't just want your personal image to be nice, but you want your background image to be nice as well. Because when you have an image that is, let's say, I don't know, you have like a lamp that is kind of looks like you are like is shedding light directly on top of your head, you could look like a ghost from certain angles. Or maybe if you have a lamp from underneath, again, you could look like you're part of the mafia. And I'm sure that isn't the look that you want to go for. And you want to look professional. You want to look like you are, you can say, attractive as a person, right? Like the most possible, attractive that you possibly can be. You want to put your best foot forward. You want to wear, a shirt or a suit, or if that's not your brand, a t-shirt that is of the best possible quality, that is in line with your brand. Nobody says that you have to be like everyone else, especially now that entrepreneurs are, living the laptop millionaire lifestyle and kind of working from anywhere. Like, for example, I just came from the park, and I do a lot of the work that I do in the park because my team works virtually with me. So I can take my computer, I can take my iPad or my phone, and I can look at the graphics they produce for books, for example, from the park or from really like anywhere. And then I can approve or say, change this. But the idea is, how can you possibly set up your background in a way that even if you are traveling, or even if you have this millionaire, laptop millionaire lifestyle, or even if you work usually from home, or if you work from an office, how do you make sure that you look professional all the time? And what's important is to look at what you have around you. So, like, what do you have around you? Do you have like a bookshelf? And if you do, make sure the books are organized. Okay. If you have, the possibility of getting a virtual background, I think it's a good idea to include your logo, for example, and a bit of what you do, like some sort of one-liner related to what you do, so people understand what you do. But if you don't have that possibility, you can also have a real background, but make sure that you are well lit. And it's important that your light is not, let's say if you are next to a window, you could discover that you are maybe well lit on one side and not well lit on the other side. So for example, right now, I'm at home. It may not look like I am at home, but I am at home. And I have this virtual TV studio that is always set up, ready to go. And what I've had to compromise was that, despite the fact that I don't like that, I've had to close my blinds of my balcony, which actually has a beautiful view, in order to be able to work from home and to face the door. And that's what I've been, suggested by, the celebrity that was featured in the movie The Secret. So that I can attract more abundance. It's quite important to not only have a nice background, but also face your success direction. Okay, she has more information on that in her book, in our common book, Global Conscious Entrepreneurs. So what's important is, okay, have your hair combed. I mean, some things you can say are common sense, and still they are not common sense to everyone. So, for example, even now I'm doing Global Conscious Entrepreneurs book 2, second edition, and a lot of the pictures that the people have sent, for being featured on the cover, they were just not right, because people don't know what it takes to actually have a really good image. Okay, and one important aspect of you being well branded as a speaker is that, okay, if you are going to be live, make sure that you have a really nice ironed shirt. You could say, okay, but everyone knows that. No, they don't. Not everyone knows that. And if you are going to wear, t-shirts as part of your brand all the time, because you are, this millionaire laptop kind of guy, or you're working in tech and you can't be bothered to kind of, wear these shirts all the time, you have to make sure that you wear cool t-shirts. If this is going to be part of your brand, like wearing a hat and t-shirts, fine, but make them ironed, give them a nice look. Make sure that even if they're from Primark, I mean, sure, it's cool if you can get, better brands and so whatever. But I'm in favor of having something from any brand that just looks good on you. It's not about the name of the brand. It's about how good it looks on you. Is it well fitting? Is it slim fit? Because I think a lot of guys, especially the slimmer ones and that are petite, like a little bit shorter, think that, oh, I should be wearing something baggy so I can look bigger. No, you have to wear your size, so wear whatever your size is, wear that, wear a slim fit, okay, if this is your size, because that is going to make you look good. And the important thing is to look good all the time. And one important thing is to have great branding photos. Now, what that means is that you're going to prepare, okay, and you're going to select the color that suits you most and that is ideally in line with your business. So for example, like I wear red and white all the time because this is my brand, but you need to look at, okay, what kind of colors do I like? What kind of colors does my business have? Am I able to combine those into colors that I can use all the time? And if the answer is yes, then you can look at, okay, can I combine the two? And if not, then you can just have, let's say, a colorful theme, or I know you can be the guy that always wears hats, or you can be the guy that always wears t-shirts, or you can, you know what I mean? You need to have a consistent element in what you're doing, so that when people book you as a speaker, they know what to expect and you are memorable. It's very important. And then you go to the photo shoot, and but before you go to the photo shoot, you have to make sure that the clothes you are going to wear are going to express like your beauty. They are going to highlight and enhance your beauty. Okay, so even if you are going to wear hats and t-shirts, make sure they are cool ones. Make sure that they are well-fitting ones. Make sure the shoes are nice. Again, it doesn't matter the brand. Of course, it's better if the brand is, whatever brand, but the important thing is make sure they look good on you. Now, how are you going to know if they look good on you? You're not most likely going to know. You're going to need outside help. Okay, so for example, when I do my book program, I also help with personal styling and the personal brand. And the reason I do that is because I know the minute you see yourself with the right color that typically maybe you hadn't even considered. Okay, so there are people that I talk with, and I ask, okay, so what is your favorite color? What is the color of your brand or your business? And then they say something, and then I look at them and I notice that, for example, maybe they look really good in white and gold, or maybe they look really good in a certain color. And then I say, okay, what would you feel if you wore this? Would you be okay with that? And sometimes they're okay with it. And when they are, then maybe sometimes I even go out with them and I buy, those things that they should be wearing for them for the photo shoot. And then when they see themselves with that massive transformation, it just has a massive personal transformation for themselves and their confidence. And then that has an impact in the kind of people and the kind of business it tend to attract as well. Because, if you see yourself in the usual way and it's like you're average, as in you see yourself as, in the usual way, and then all of a sudden you look so much better overnight, then your own confidence starts to rise because everyone is going to say like, wow, what did you do?
I have two questions. First, how important is to be fit?
How important it is to be fit?
Yes.
Very important. And it is really hard actually to wear something to kind of like really enhance your beauty when you are not fit. And that's the reason why, for example, like I'm technically obese, okay? So I'm like 84 kilograms and I'm 166 meter tall. Okay, so I'm obese, technically. Having said that, if you look at me, you wouldn't know. And the reason why you wouldn't know is because I am very good at hiding certain aspects of my body, by using pretend slim, stuff, like, shapers and things like that. And because of that, in heels and whatever. And I do think that even for men, there are solutions. So for example, even if you are a little bit chubby, you have a big belly and so on, and you're not too fit, it's still possible to enhance your beauty by wearing certain things that are slimming or give the perception that you are slimmer. Even, for example, there are shoes. There is a website called masaltos.com, which is specifically, I think, for Latin American people, but it doesn't have to be, of course. It's called masaltos.com, which means taller.com in English, okay? And they can add an extra 7 centimeters, okay? That's probably 2 or 3 inches to your height. And that's a lot, that's 7 centimeters that you can look taller. And when you look taller, you actually look more, you look better when you're taller somehow, unless you're already very, very tall, right? And in terms of what you're going to wear, again, for women, there's shapers, there's supportive bras, there's a lot of different things that you should be wearing to kind of enhance the fact that, enhance certain areas and then tone down the areas that you can say need a bit of balancing. Let's say like a big belly or uneven, boobs or whatever it is that you may have that you want to balance out. And for men, let's say you have a big belly or whatever, again, you can wear like a bigger coat or, a bigger jacket and, a certain type of trousers. So there's a lot of different solutions that you can use in order to look good. Even if you're unfit, but it's good to be fit. And the reason why it's good to be fit is because as a speaker in particular and an author, you are going to be invited to speak. And when you speak, you need to have the energy to present. And sometimes you're going to need to present for a full day, for 2 days. It depends like how many days you're going to be invited for. So for example, I've been on speaking tours where I've had to go for 10 full days. And sometimes I had 3 speaking opportunities every single day. And sometimes those opportunities were like 2 hours, 3 hours. And I had to like travel from, place to place and had to take this bus that was taking, 12 hours from, place to place. So I would say you need that energy. So it's important to be, if you're not fit right now, it's important to put that as part of your goals and also to make the most of what you have. And this is what I'm always a big, you can say, proponent of. It's important to make the most of what you currently have. And I think we all have a feature. Maybe it's nice eyes, maybe it's, nice lips, maybe it's, I don't know, nice chest, or, there's an area of your body that you can enhance that will make people kind of like get attracted to that area and then tone down other areas you don't want highlighted so much. And when we work with colors, with textures, with, different things, what happens is that you can look a lot better even if you are unfit, but it's a good idea to be fit because when you are fit, you have higher energy and your audience is going to give you back only 70% of what you put in. For example, if I'm going to speak with a lot of energy and I'm going to give them 100%, they are going to give me back only 70% in terms of their interactions and so on. Mm-hmm. And especially if they don't desire to be there. So if you're doing like a corporate speaking gig and so on. So your energy needs to be like off the charts. And for that to happen, you need to like eat well and you need to, have the right nutrients and exercise. For me personally, okay, I'm obese, but I still exercise every day. I walk to the park for at least an hour, and then I swim almost every day 100 laps in a pool of 20 meters. And I dance occasionally as well. And yeah, and sometimes I walk like 12 kilometers a day, like on my days off, things like that.
Okay, that is really something. Let's talk about colors a bit. You mentioned all the feng shui and the different methods before. Do you calculate your clients' best colors based on their date of birth?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You mentioned that you're using feng shui methods and how things should be arranged around you in your office in order to attract money, and they also have a calculation what color suits you best based on the date of birth. Do you use this method?
I Marie Diamond, who is the lady that taught me this strategy. You can say she did that for me, like for my own house. Okay, so she told me, okay, you should be pointing this way, you should be, putting these, this vision board in my house and this kind of thing. But I'm not able to teach anyone about that because I don't know enough. But you can say, yes, I have applied that based on what she mentioned that I should be doing. So she did mention, for example, I should be facing my desk towards the door because that is a success, my success direction, which is the southwest. And then she also mentioned to put my vision board in my room, again, facing southwest. And I did that. And then she asked me to put, for example, like a fountain, a water fountain. And again, I don't like water fountains. I don't like, I like my house to be relatively minimalist, but I decided to be coachable and to listen to what she says. So my main topic that I usually, coach people on is personal branding and book publishing. And also I have a course with my partner, Harry, where we teach people how to overcome the fear of speaking. And together we have this called Speakers Are Leaders. And that's and we do websites, we do influencer websites as well, or e-commerce websites for companies.
Oh, that's great. You mentioned brands and that speakers should wear certain brands. Can you recommend any brands? For example, for clothes, for shoes, for I don't know, computer phones, and so on. What would be your recommendation, just out of the blue?
Very good question. So I think that you need to choose a brand that looks good on you. It doesn't matter to me whether it's Primark or Chanel or whatever it is. You have to choose something that looks good on you. Like for me, I have recently discovered a couple of Romanian brands that have really nice dresses. So I am buying from them. One of them is called atmosphere.ro, and I'm buying really nice day dresses from them. And there's a couple more like starshiners.ro and zonia.ro, and I'm buying them from Romania. And the reason I'm buying from there is because, for example, I find that in the UK, I think people have a lot of money, but they just don't have the guidance about what they should be wearing for their body type. And because of that, I think that, there's less stuff that I actually like, from normal shops, especially because I only wear red. So, my choice is kind of a little bit reduced. And then for men, like I don't have a particular brand that I recommend. Again, it's because I think you need to first look at the general style. What style are you going to have? Are you going to have like a rocker style? Are you going to have like, a serious office style? And then based on that, I would be looking at, okay, what is there that is kind of like in line with that? And then I would be able to tell you there's a particular brand that I would recommend. I do like Zara. I do like H&M. Zara, I think, is okay-ish. I really like for women Karen Millen, and I like Alaya as well for women. For men, can't think of a particular brand in particular that I recommend, but Zara is okay.
Okay, that's a budget. I don't know if they have that in US, but we'll see. I'm sure someone will comment. what would be their equivalent of Zara in US. Okay, let's move to speaking. Would you say that speaking is easier than average 9 to 5 job?
Speaking is easier than what?
Than average 9 to 5 job.
Very good question. Okay, so I love my lifestyle. I wouldn't change it for anything. Now, I would say if you were to be a speaker, you can be a speaker in two ways. You can speak for companies, or you can organize your own event, right? Or you can speak, for other people's events, right? Now, when you organize your own event, I don't like that. The reason I don't like that is because it takes a lot of work. You have to do the marketing, you have to do the speaking, you have to do the organization. And if you don't have someone else to manage that, and I currently don't, I'm doing everything. I'm the woman with 1,000 hats, and my partner Harry the same. And I really don't have that much support in terms of, people helping me. So if you're listening and you want to help, you're in London, please come over. but in terms of the outcome for the people, yeah, I mean, it's great, right? Like, I like the fact that people come to an event and in 24 hours, they transform their life. Like, they go from being super like afraid of public speaking to like speaking still with fear, right? Like they kind of learn to feel the fear and do it anyway, as as that famous quote said. And after a while, they get so good, they're not afraid anymore. And then they close deals, and they do things that you would never possibly imagine. Okay, they're so courageous. They start, building multi-million-pound businesses, and close a lot more sales, and ask out the girl they wanted. And there's so much that they get to do as a result of empowering themselves. Now, if you speak for a company, what happens is that you would need to kind of customize what you are speaking on for that particular company. And now the presentation part, I dislike that, because it involves a lot of hours preparing for the, speaking. And then I like the transformation part. Like, I like the fact that it takes a lot less time. And then you kind of just go there for 3 hours or a day or 1 hour or whatever it is. And then you don't have to do the organization. You're a little bit like a queen or a king for the day. And you just come with your presentation. And if you're lucky and you don't have to adapt it too much, then it's okay, right? And if you don't have to go too far for it, then it's okay. But if you have to fly and you have to, readjust all your presentation and spend lots of hours readjusting, that's the part I don't like. Okay, but what I do like is that you get paid. It's easy. It's much easier than organizing your own event. Now, if you need to speak at another person's event, then it depends, because you have two options. One is where you have a lot of time to speak, and in that case, maybe you would prepare a presentation. And if you prepare a presentation, again, you have to adapt it even more. That's the part I dislike. But what I'm doing recently that I like a lot, I've discovered I'm actually very good just talking to people without a PowerPoint. Although everything I'm doing is visual, so it's better if you do see it. Okay, so for example, I do book covers, I do websites, so everything is visual, social media banners and things like that. So it's better if you do see it. But what I've found that works really good for me is if I just speak, and then my partner Harry is managing the PowerPoint from behind me. Okay, so I don't look behind me. I'll just be talking, and I'll be saying, this is what you need to do, and this is whatever, and then it's easy. It's like, oh my God, I love that. So in terms of the lifestyle, is that better than a 9 to 5? Yes, because for example, right now, is in London is 4:30. Okay, and really do whatever I want with my life. I could wake up at any time, work at any time, and then choose to take anything, any gig that I want to take, and refuse anyone that I want to, you know what I mean? Whereas when you have a 9 to 5 job, yes, there are some pluses where you make money every month, and you have that security, and it's easier to get a mortgage and this kind of thing. But it's not for me anymore, because I did that for a while, and it was really hard even to do anything during the day because you're like stuck. You know, like I used to work 9 to 7, and every single day I was 9 to 7 at my desk, or, you know, and it was just really hard. I really disliked that. And I also think it's not, you can't really be free that much when you have a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 7 kind of job. Whereas speaking and authoring, what happens is that you kind of create your own life on your own terms. So for example, I just came from the park and I did some of the work with my virtual assistants from around the world on graphics, on websites, on books. And, you know, it was so pleasant. Like I was like looking at the ducks and by the lake, and it's so beautiful, you know, in the sun, and it's nothing you could possibly compare it to.
Okay. Is there a website or an agency that could help someone that is starting a speaking career so that they would get booked by the company, for example?
Yeah, so you should register with, for example, London Speaker Bureau or companies like that. Just type, for example, Speaker Bureau in Google, and then register yourself there. And then what you'll find is that you need a speaker bio, you will need a speaker trailer, and you need ideally a speaker trailer that shows you actually speaking, like little elements of you speaking for your desirable topic. But this topic is very important, because if you choose a topic that the agencies don't want, then it's going to be hard. And that's why it's important to maybe talk to someone who can advise you, maybe someone that is like a representative of one of these speaker bureaus. And typically what they recommend is that you select not too many topics, because if you select too many topics, that means you don't know them, right? So they prefer that you are specialized in one or two topics rather than you being like, you know, available to speak on so many topics. They prefer specialists rather than generalists. Now, this is a little bit different, for example, in South America, because when I go to South America, and I've been invited a lot of times, you need to be prepared to kind of speak on anything they need. Okay, so the speaker promoter will be like, oh, Lily can do everything. You know, Lily can talk about anything. Okay, and they will put me down to speak on leadership, motivation, sales, you know, so they will be a little, you know, the range of speaking topics will be a bit more open. But I think with a normal agency, you know, like in London or in the US or whatever, they want just one or two topics.
Okay. How hard is to earn 6 figures as a speaker?
How hard is it?
Yes.
I think initially, it depends. Like first, it depends how good you are. It depends on how well branded you are, and then I would also say that you need a very steady lead generation activities. So for example, because as a speaker, you can also make money by selling your own coaching. And while you're waiting for all, you know, all these speaker bureaus to kind of promote you and so on, I think you need a stability, right? I think we all need stability. And for that to happen, you would need to look at hiring maybe like a lead generation agency that can bring you leads from, you know, paid ads, for example, in Facebook, or are able to generate organic leads from Facebook and then give them to you and get them booked into your calendar. And then when they do that, then what happens is that you have now, you are now focused only on delivering, only on talking to those people and delivering. And if you can also get a team who can help you to, you know, close those deals so you don't have to do that, that's even better. For example, for me, I don't have that yet. Like I don't have sales closers for me yet, but I am looking for that. I think that as long as you have people like booking appointments with you to at least talk about the thing and, you know, see what you have to offer, and you have that as a recurring automated lead generation service that they just do for you, whether it's organic or it's paid. And I think all you need is for this to work, you know, like for 1 week, and then to kind of like, you just kind of automate the process. And then the idea is to always have leads, coming to you. And I think if you have that in place, I think that's easier to, you know, make at least 100K.
Okay. So you said that the speaking career is much better than 9-to-5 job, and would you say that if people are burned out, that the speaking career would be a path to slow down?
Would the speaking career be what?
The right path to slow down. So the right way to go if you want to slow down. So if you're just burned out because your current job is too exhausting, would you recommend people to go into speaking?
I think it depends, right? Because it depends. Like, for example, if you're really good and let's say that you have this lead generation company that is filling up your calendar with leads, then, you know, if you are going to do those calls with the leads, you're not going to be free as much. But if you were to only say, okay, I have only like one day in which they can call, you know, or maybe you can have a company that can do that, the sales closing part as well, and you do only the delivery. Or for example, if you want to work even less, if you're burnt out and overwhelmed, I think the best option is to do a course, an online course, and then to have the entire operation automated, so you're not actually doing anything. All you're doing is you're overseeing. And yes, that would be a really good option if you're overwhelmed and burnt out, because you would hire a company to do the lead generation part, hire another company or the same company to do the closing part, and then you would do your own online course. You record it, you put it in a platform like mine, Brand for Speakers University, or another one that is available like ClickFunnels or something. And then you have them manage the entire process, and maybe you just have one assistant that manages the entire system for you, and then you're doing nothing and making money.
That's really something that everyone is looking for. Is there anything else you would like our listeners to take from this interview? Any quick tips or trade secrets that you can share with us?
Yeah, so I do think that if you are an entrepreneur and you want to either to attract more business, or you want to attract more business in a way that, let's say you're currently overwhelmed and burnt out and you just want to work less but make more, I think one really good option is you can become an author, and you can also create a course or a series of courses, okay? And one option as well is to put some of those courses on Udemy. You can turn them into very short courses of, let's say, 1 hour. You put them on Udemy, and I actually have a friend who created a course. Actually, no, not just a course, maybe like 4 or 5 courses. One of them was actually on cooking. And I think in total, she has over 300,000 students. So even with, the courses on Udemy tend to be only like $10, but imagine you do a course of 1 hour and you have 300,000 students for that course, and you make even $10, that's still $3 million, right? So I think all of a sudden that 1 hour you put in to create that, and then maybe your team, took some time to oversee that and edit it and whatever, and then you oversaw that for another 2-3 hours of the editing they did. I think that would be worth it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep, $1 million is something else. Okay, I will put links where people can reach you in the description below. And thank you, Lily, for being my guest tonight.
Thank you.